I'm here with director Steven Spielberg. Steven, thanks for being here.
It's nice to be back with you again.
Steven is here to discuss one of the 100 most significant political films of all time, culled from the New Republic's list. You have film number 4 here, All the President's Men. Our idea of bringing many of these films to the TCM audience, that came from you. You saw this list and thought this is something for TCM. Why did you think that?
Well, for one thing, I thought that the movie itself, All the President's Men, is one of the most significant reconstructions of one of the most dangerous periods in presidential American history. And the fact that it all really happened this way, this is the kind of thing that writers are paid to make up and create for audiences that love fiction. In this case, it was based on a brilliant book, and it was brilliantly written and directed and performed. And it really illuminated history to the point that it made me want to direct a movie called The Post, which was, in a way, I always considered the prequel to All the President's Men.
Because The Post was the Pentagon Papers.
The Post was the Pentagon Papers, and The Post was about the decision that Katharine Graham and Ben Bradlee had to make about whether to release those or not to their newspaper. And
that was about 3 years before the events that you'll see in All the President's Men. A lot of Hollywood films are based on a true story, and then you've done it, and then you change the story to the extent that you need to turn it into a 90-minute, 2-hour, 2.5-hour feature that'll be relatable to audiences. And obviously some characters may have been combined for All the President's Men, but not really. Like this has to be close to the highest percentage of truth in a movie. Like what you're about to see here is all legit.
Yeah, what you're about to see here is based on public records and became, I think, the source material that the writer and the director used to acquit this true story.
The writer's William Goldman, the director
Alan J. Pakula.
Alan J. Pakula, and Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman at the top of the cast here, Jason Robards as well. This is a movie about 2 reporters struggling to report on a story that needed to be advanced daily if possible, but certainly weekly, often unsuccessfully, often running into roadblocks. That does not sound, I'm not a director, but that does not sound filmic. That is not cinematic. Yet, this movie is thrilling. This is a political thriller and a process movie. What makes it work? How is this done so successfully? This where Robert Redford spends a good 10% of the movie on the phone.
Exactly, and also a phone attached to a pole. It wasn't something you didn't have to quick draw something from your pocket.
That's right.
Anywhere you wanted to be to talk, you had to go to a place where there was
at a desk.
Communication. It's the old analog era. And I think it was the tenacity of commitment, the same way that cold cases are often are fodder for really interesting dramas, where you find evidence that has been long since sort of, obfuscated, and these detectives find things and they reopen the case. In this case, it was just as painstakingly detailed, where these 2 reporters are basically following a money trail. And what's compelling about it is the fact that no scene is really longer than 2.5 minutes. It's not like there's 8-9 minute long scenes, but it's staccato. There's a pacing to the entire story. I suppose if it was a limited series, they would have had to stretch everything way, way out, but then they would have lost all the tension. And there's so much tension because they had to get a lot of information out in a very, very, meager amount of time.
When Redford was meeting with Woodward, first Woodward and Bernstein didn't call him back. They didn't believe that it was him.
Right.
And it wasn't that they were dazzled by Hollywood. People were lying to them all the time.
All the time.
Right? Finally, Woodward had an opportunity to meet Redford. Redford was doing a publicity event for the candidate in Washington, and Woodward came and just whispered in his ear. They had never met. Woodward, meet me in 45 minutes at the bar at the Jefferson Hotel. And then told him there, don't call me, we'll come to you. Like, we're being watched. So the threat was very real.
Right.
We're going to let people watch the film, but as you'll see at the end of the movie, I mean, there could have been another 3 hours.
Yeah, there could have
been.
There could have been.
This is really the first part of the Watergate story.
That's correct.
All right, Steven, thanks very much. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this after we see the film. Here it is, from 1976, directed by Alan J. Pakula, screenplay by William Goldman. Robert Redford, Dustin Hoffman, and Jason Robards in All the President's Men. Every time I see it, I'm struck by how much more there was to tell, right? I mean, we're a long way from Nixon resigning. I mean, the movie's ending at his inauguration.
That's right.
Right? And then it's, again, a little bit of filmmaking genius, right? To have that old press wire typing that we see of advancing the story along.
Right. In that sense, it's very subtle how they approach the story. There's nothing about this that really evokes any other cliches that I remember from other political films in the past. Of course, the Watergate incident was completely unique because it went so deep into that particular administration, which is why the title is so brilliant. Because all the president's men, I look at them as dominoes. You couldn't knock down the third president's man until the first two. It had to all be done in sequential order. You couldn't leap ahead. It had to all make sense because they were building a case. And the case was going to have to stand the test of time and the test of scrutiny based on the media and based on political writers and everyone else that always likes to punch holes in airtight cases. So the way this was approached and the way I think Ben Bradley, so smart to have let Woodstein, which was their acronym for both of them, to allow Woodstein to give them so much rope that they could have hanged themselves with in some of those small mistakes they made. But the fact that he said, I'm going with the boys, or I believe in the boys.
Stick by our boys.
I'm going to stick by our boys. That was what made Ben Bradley one of the greatest heads of a newspaper in history.
And you had Tom Hanks play him.
And Tom, one of the greatest actors in history, played one of the greatest editors in history.
Carl Bernstein, who we've talked to, we've been on the air to discuss All the President's Men, loves the movie. I know Woodward does too. In part because this is Bernstein describes it as a process movie, right?
Yes.
It's about people doing their jobs,
That's
the
right.
process of doing the job. Right. Which is something that I know the actor who we mentioned before, who played Ben Bradley in your film, The Post, Tom Hanks, loves process stories, right? He loves learning, showing how people do their jobs.
Exactly. And I love that. I love movies that show how something works. Not just, to show it working, but open it up, reconstruct it, right? Reverse engineer it, spread it out on a table, and then reassemble it so you have a deep appreciation about why you should really appreciate what you're looking at. And that's what All the President's Men was. It was a playbook on how to get a story and how to get the truth of the story and how to essentially, how to make your case, how to make your case that a jury of your peers is going to unanimously agree with and render a verdict.
It changed journalism. You talk about most significant political films of all time. So many, thousands and thousands of people became journalists because they saw this movie, right? Because they wanted to uncover corruption in American public life.
This movie probably did for journalism what Silence of the Lambs did for getting recruitment raised for the FBI.
Right, profiling.
And it did have an impact on the FBI recruitment.
It definitely did, that's right. Stephen, great stuff. Thanks for this.
Thank you, Ben.
And thanks for suggesting that we probe the New Republic's list of the most significant political films of all time. It has led to some very interesting conversations.
It's the right time to do it.
Yeah. Stay with us. Stephen is done for the night, but the political films continue here on Turner Classic Movies.
Next on TCM, Citizen Kane, then Jean Dillmont, and later Olympia Part 1, Festival of the Nations. TCM's Golden Tonight.